Hello, beautiful soul sister, and welcome back to another episode of the Soul Powered Podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Kiger. I'm a trauma-informed master mindset and money coach, as well as a financial expert of over 17 years. I have spent my entire adult life studying the difference between successful and unsuccessful people, and I plan on sharing all of the things with you on this journey together. This podcast is called the Soul Powered Podcast because it's my desire to share with you how to create a life that is powered by your soul, not by societal standards or what everyone else in your life tells you that you should be doing, but actually powered by your soul. The reason you'd want to do this is because I believe that this is the fastest way to unlock your portal to prosperity and become what I call the wildly wealthy woman. This is the portal that once you enter it, you gain access to the prosperity, abundance, wealth, time freedom, experiences, fulfillment that are your birthright. I don't believe that you came here to build someone else's dreams. I believe you came here to live your soul-powered life and live it to the fullest. And I plan on sharing with you exactly how to do that during our time together. So thank you so much for being here. I know we're going to have so much fun together today. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Soul Powered Podcast. I am so excited for today's episode. I have a dear friend of mine that we haven't spoken in a while. So I have Mya Pearle on the show. I'm really excited to just dive in. Today's going to be a little different, but it's going to be fun. So let's welcome Mya to the show. Hi, how are you, Mya?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Really excited to be here.
Of course. I'm so excited that you're here too. So let's start off. And I say it's going to be a little different because Mya and I just haven't caught up in a while. And she's an incredible person. We've met, probably, I don't even know, maybe 4 years ago at this point. We were in a mastermind together. For those of you who are like the OG listeners, you know that I was inside of Kosi, who's the Royal Shamans mastermind. And that's where we met. So I know she's on all of our vibes. She's definitely down all the, spiritual lenses. And she's really created a lot of success by this in a really unique way. And that's why I wanted to bring her on. So we're going to do a little catching up, but we're also going to, the point of this is really to share from an inspiring place of like living a soul-powered life means that whatever comes through, like who knows what your venture is going to lead you down or where you're going to be led. And Mya's a great example of like really following that intuition, stepping into it and creating a incredible life as a result. So I hope that sums up a little bit. But Mya, if you want to just share with us, who's Mya? Who's Mya Pearle? What is it that you do in the world? And yeah, let's kind of start there.
Well, yeah, you shared a lot of beautiful things, so thank you. I like to say now that I'm a real estate developer. It actually would have bored the crap out of me. A few years back, I would have just zoned out at this point, but let me tell you, the perspective shift of owning that title and really delving in has lit me up to such a high level in the last 4 years now that I've been doing this. So conscious real estate development, and I'll get into how I actually landed here from like really zero background and no idea in my early life this even existed. And so, yeah, so I'm the owner of Rallia Realty, and we develop and we property manage.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. And what really caught my attention when we were kind of chatting in the DMs, we've stayed in touch, since we've been out of the container together, but we've been talking as of late. And you were saying something about incorporating human design into your like,
Mm.
I'm so curious about that. How are you doing this? Because I think it's like, I don't know, I get excited about this stuff as you can tell, but I really feel like just those of us who are here to like bridge the gap between the spiritual and the physical, like this is just an example of how you might be able to do that, right? In such a cool, unique way. So can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
Okay, so first of all, I'm a not so closet human design nerd. So let me
That's
preface
good.
with this. And it didn't happen right away. Like anyone who's new to human design, it might happen to you still because I learned it through Makosi, so a mutual connection. She used human design with me when we did our one-on-one sessions, and I learned about my profile, and I had no clue what the heck this thing was. It was really too overwhelming, and it took a full circle moment in our mastermind when I met Eden Carpenter, who then I had that sacral hit, and I'm a sacral authority and I'm supposed to listen to that, yes, please, I love it, yummy feeling. And then I deep dove off the deep end into her course. And then I learned about the modality for myself. I really learned for myself, but I geek out on it with people all the time. So basically, I love that the I Ching is a huge component of human design, and I love how human design brings it back to your decision making. And the I Ching, if you don't know, are these 64 descriptors, and even deeper than that, it goes into like the shadow of that descriptor of a frequency. So it could be the frequency of innocence, and you have this beautiful, you imagine whatever innocence brings up for you. I think of children playing and paintball fights, and then the gift frequency of that is in the middle, where you kind of have this other layer that's still really lovely. And this one in this particular I Ching is looking at innovation. So what does innovation bring up for you? And it could be we're building something new and we are, I don't know, techie or whatever that like innovation vibe is. And then it also has a shadow of that same area. So this one in particular that I'm talking about is chaos. Like, what does chaos bring up for you? And, we all have chaos in our lives at different moments. And it could look like my kitchen did this morning after my kids left for school. So that is like the first image for me. So, but all those three together make one of the what's called gates in human design. And I just love these gates, and I love how the gates connect to each other and create channels. So I really geek out about that. And so it's, for me, it's the frequencies. It's giving these descriptors to how we move energy through our systems and through life and how we connect to other people. And then I thought, well, why not have fun with that in building and start to bring this concept to a building and kind of booby trap buildings with frequencies and call outs to those. So we're working right now. It's not launched yet. We're in our development of this concept, but we have a boutique hotel, you could call it. A retreat center is another word for it. I love to also mishmash. In Montreal, we're all about our different permittings. So if anyone in Montreal is listening to this, we are actually a private restaurant with a cafe, and above we have short-term rentals. We are not technically a hotel as per our permits, but all of this to say we have this concept coming that we're layering in human design. So anyone who understands this is going to be able to come and have a human design experience. And it's going to even go outside of the walls. Like, we're going to connect in this, like you would come to visit us in Montreal and you would get taken on a journey through Montreal that would activate you on all these different levels, incorporating your shadows and incorporating your gifts. And so this is where we're playing right now.
Oh my God. I'm like chomping at the bit. I'm so excited about this. I'm coming to Montreal in, I think, I want to say like October or so. One of my,
No.
yes, one of my business besties, we call them, who I'm in a current mastermind with. She lives in Montreal, and there's another girl that we're like the three amigas, but she lives in Scottsdale. I'm sorry, the other girl does. So Rachel and Sabrina is who I'm referencing here. And for those of you guys who have listened, Sabrina's been on and Rachel's coming on, I want to say in May. Anyway, so we're all coming. Me and Rachel are gonna go and visit Sabrina in Montreal. So we will absolutely be in touch, Maya. So excited.
We're gonna get you into the human design hotel. That's amazing.
Oh my
That's
God.
amazing.
I'm literally so excited about this. This is incredible. And I didn't even realize you had like the short-term rental. So we'll talk offline about that, because Rachel and I have been looking like, okay, where are we gonna stay? What are we gonna do? This is incredible. And okay, so because when you're talking about the different gates and everything, now I also learned human design through Eden. I bought her, I put it this way, I paid for her certification to
Yeah.
get into human design, and then got really sidetracked in my business, and like I haven't completed it yet. So I don't know all like the deep intricacies of it. And that's kind of something that when my soul is ready to pick that back up, and when I've got, the time and the ability to do that, I will. But what I'm hearing though, because I've kind of gone down the gene keys rabbit hole. And when you were
Yeah.
talking about the innovation, the innocence, the chaos, that's one of my gene keys as well. So how does that tie in with gene keys? I guess that might be like a really deep question. And just yeah, whatever you think about that. Like, is that kind of similar to gene keys with the idea?
Yeah. To be honest, I see Gene Keys as just a different perspective on
Okay.
the I Ching. That's what it is, right?
Okay.
It's the I
Yep.
Ching. And so at the core of it is how are we using these descriptors of states of being?
That's so
Um,
cool.
and all we're trying to do is like all day long, we're like, how do you want to feel? How do we want to, what do we want to experience in life, right? And these descriptors help us. Like, I want to be joyful. I want to be, in my flow. I want to be, and like these are the things we're trying
Ah,
to accomplish. So I think that those words help us. And then when we feel like we're in the shadows, when we feel like
mhm.
we're in, all these different, I would say more negative states, it becomes our little guides to, okay, wait, this one, there's a way out. I think Gene Keys is really good at giving it the like, oh, how's my way out of that? Like, what does it look like? I use
Yeah.
my gifts yes. So it's very related to Gene Keys as well. I think the both are being woven in, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's just I think it's more palatable for marketing to call this a human design hotel than
Yeah.
a Gene Keys hotel, but I feel like
I
we're doing
agree.
both.
Well, I love it. I think it's absolutely incredible. And this is really cool. So, like, how did you come up with this idea? Was it just more so because you're like looking at gene keys and you're looking at human design, you're doing all this, but you also, like, is that just how it kind of blossomed? Was like,
I have like 5 billion ideas a day. So this one
me too.
landed and I was like, I like that one. You're sticking around.
That's so
I have
cool,
an open
Maya.
crown and here's the
Right.
inside.
Okay. Makes sense. Yep. Okay. I love that so much. So you obviously would have a story that kind of brought you into this. So I know you said you didn't
Yeah.
start off this way. You didn't know much about, what it is that you're doing now before. So tell us a little bit about your story and like what brought you here to doing all of this.
Yeah, like real estate, like I said, was never on in my game plan because I didn't even realize. I think most of us don't realize how much we interact with real estate. It's
Hmm.
just really an unconscious spot in our lives and
Yeah.
how much we have to give to the buildings we live in and how much we receive from the buildings we live in. And I
Mhm.
just think it's such a point of, well, we can bring consciousness to this on every level. And so our constructs today are like landlord, gross word. I really encourage us all to use like property owner and really start moving away from that. But we have that landlord tenant relationships. And so now I will go ahead and say property owner, property manager, and then our renters or we can also call them our partners in energizing a space and energizing a building. And so before, when I ever had these thoughts about landlord, property owner, I was, growing up, I come from a very rural area in Quebec and living we're at the mercy of, our landlord situation, our property owner situation. And at one point, my parents were asked to leave their home, my childhood home of 8, 9 years. And we ended up borderline homeless for like we managed to get into a place but there was a lot of stress around that, and a very traumatic part of my childhood became that story of, well, we're not stable, we don't have control, and we're never going to get in this situation again, and so that narrative has been running in the back of my unconscious, and it has to do with ownership of your place and that feeling of being out of control of ownership. So put that aside. I go through my university and I'm always like unsure what I want to do. And I end up falling into health and wellness and nutrition. I was an athlete. It was kind of a natural, like, what do I need for myself at this point? Well, I need good nutrition. And also I'm curious, about helping my parents with their diseases or like just helping, like just learning. So I fall into sports nutrition. And I created a 10-year career in sports nutrition, not necessarily because that's what I was supposed to do, but because I was on that path at 18 years old and I didn't know how to get off that path. And I just kept going. And it was when I actually encountered our mutual friend, Makosi, that I learned and delved into the world of alignment and had this massive shift in my energetic perspectives and also just mental perspective of who I was, what I was doing, what I was here to do. Took off all the labels that I had accumulated, athlete, mother, even. I kind of like, yes, I'm a mother, but I don't have to be identified as a mother, And also dietitian was a big one. You had to work so hard for that license, and there were so many tests and hoops and everything I had to pass to receive and be able to even teach nutrition to people. And so all of these, I kind of stripped them all away, and I was left with this empty void.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
I
sound
remember the
familiar?
void. I remember the void.
And that's kind of when I met you. I think I
Yeah.
was still floating a bit in that, like, who am I? What should I talk about? What am I doing here? And I remember the first thing that came to me was, well, maybe I should talk about partnerships, because my partnership with my husband and people, like, I've learned a lot about partnerships over the years. And so that was the first place I said, okay, maybe I have something to share. But it's actually my partnership with my husband that changed my perspective on all of this and allowed me to see myself in real estate. Because as the story goes, I married someone who, at the beginning of our relationship, was just getting into commercial real estate.
Mm.
And I watched and was side by side on the growth and the understanding and the learning and the connections and all of that of building the most incredible commercial brokerage real estate career. Like
Wow.
this, he's a, to me, he's like my daily inspiration on just how to
Wow.
like move, but like in the sense of like some people in life just go from point A to point B, and you're like, ah.
Yeah. That's so cool that you married one. Like that's so incredible, right? Because
It's
it's
nice to have
like,
an example, because my trajectory has been like a
I,
circle and a spiral and an up and a down and a backwards and a forwards.
I think it's by design though, right? Like
Yeah.
we were meant to meet the men who would be that. Yes, I agree. I have a similar setup.
So just watching, and learning, but I learned a lot about commercial real estate over the years. Not to say that I could go do what he does, but I was listening and learning and understanding who owns this commercial real estate, who's running, who's deciding who are the tenants in all these retail places, these malls, these industrial centers, like who's manufacturing, who's deciding who goes in there. And it's really an incredibly high percentage of men,
Mm.
like something in the not high 90s. And that blew my mind, because we think we're in this like growing, like balancing out women, men in these different fields, like, and but really, really not in the development and decision-making positions in commercial real estate. Think
Wow.
about how much that can impact. Like think about like whole huge
Oh my
residential
gosh.
developments.
Yeah.
It's everywhere you go. You pass by a strip mall, you pass by, and so it's really a very wide open, I would say, industry for women to get into and like put themselves in the driver's seat of the decision making of what we're going to build and how we're going to maintain it, what we're going to rebuild, because a lot of it is rebuilding what's already there.
Mm.
So I got curious about that, but then I had all these moments of self-doubt in the beginning, and it takes an incredible amount of capital to start getting into I guess owning real estate. It would be the one. And then there's you're not just an owner in real estate though. You're also, if you are the operator and like running the property management or the development, there's like another hat you're wearing that is full time and really big and not passive at all. So I could have done this like in the beginning when I was, just getting into my alignment phase. I could have shifted into real estate and been an investor. Simply like, here, I invest in you, I invest in you. And I know you've probably invested in real estate funds and, this kind of thing. And so my big aha moment was, oh no, I don't want to just invest. It doesn't feel right. I think I need to be the doing. I think I need to be in the decision making, position to say, okay, I'm going to choose if that's going to be a restaurant or if that's going to be an event space. I'm going to
Mm.
choose if that's going to be, I'm going to
Yeah.
choose the cafe operator that's going to come in.
Yeah.
And that those are scary places to be, because when you're first starting out, you don't have like that wisdom, that track record. And so that's kind of been my last few years, is getting over the humps of all the fear barriers of like, no, I don't know enough, or I don't have enough experience. And then you're also playing with much bigger sums of money or much bigger risk. And so
Yeah.
I think that would be the hardest part in the last few years, I could say, about getting into this. But
Yeah.
that's what I've been doing is a startup in real
Wow.
estate. Yeah.
That's incredible. And I didn't realize, I mean, obviously it makes sense, but that 90% of those decisions are being run by men. So I love that you're bringing in that more balanced approach because, our listeners know a lot about, the masculine and the feminine side of things. And I think it's really important that you're doing this work and you're also just being an example of what it's like to be a woman in such a male dominated industry, right? And stepping into this, it's beautiful. And it's an example for others who want to take that step. Most of my listeners here, of course, are women because I think women are attracted to other powerful women. And I love that, we can shine light on, hey, we can do anything that a man can do, right? Like there's no limits as to what it is that we're able to do. So I'm so excited to like see how this all unfolds for you though. Cause like you said, you're literally, and that's kind of the idea of like building this soul powered life is like you're going somewhere that, not many like you have gone before. And I can see where that would be really scary.
It's scary when you don't have that. I think women more, maybe more than men, but we don't have that natural testosterone boost that gives us confidence that
Yeah.
can just manufacture it. And I had a few moments where I had that call, like to somebody in my circle. You need those people who, when you're having that crisis, I called and I was like, literally, how do I manufacture confidence today? Because that's what I'm missing. Everything
Mhm.
else, I've got everything else. I've got the funds. I've got the building's purchased. Like we're not going backwards. We're halfway through renovations, but I need to manufacture confidence today because I need to show up at this meeting. I need to look like I need to have that feeling that people need to feel like they're in good hands. I need to feel like we're on a great trajectory, and they or else they won't. The tenants won't believe in you. They won't believe in themselves. Like there's all kinds of confidence. I said that's the main number one ingredient you need to be a real estate developer.
I love that confidence. Okay. And that's so important what you touched on too. And that's why, having that group of people who will support you and like having those, I call them my business besties, right? But the different people who it's like they're playing at your level, right? And if you're listening to this, like really just getting into the rooms and getting around people, most of my guests that you guys listen to here are from me being in the rooms, right? And getting the opportunity to just get around incredible people. And that's the thing that's going to help you, like you said, when you're just sitting there like, I don't know if I have the confidence today or, I really need to figure this out. Those are the kinds of people that you can call and be able to get the support that you need. So I really feel like a lot of that starts with just putting yourself in the right positions and taking the chances and taking the risks. Would you say the same? Like, did you just organically have this like amazing circle of conscious women friends, or like how did that begin to unfold for you?
No, I paid into it in a way, right? Like working with Makosi was a huge investment.
Mhm.
And working with the coaches that I work with are also investments. I've had different types of coaches since. And it's always if you're investing in the room is also going to invest back in you. And I think it's also a testament to like everyone in this mastermind that we were in, that we've stayed in touch, has always been it's a really great call. Like, and this is fun to do it on a podcast, but it's a really great call to connect back in and have that feeling like we're picking up where we left off in those deep conversations
Yeah.
because we're going at another level. We're going deeper to this.
Mhm.
It's like when you go into the almost like we went into the dirt, right? We went on to we did a lot of shadow work together. And because of that, creates, it's like that vulnerable place that just creates enormous trust. And like this person, I feel like I can be around you and say something. Maybe I can say something that is embarrassing or doesn't feel comfortable, but I feel comfortable around this person because I've been stripped down before around them. And you need those rooms.
You need those rooms. Oh my God, I got full body chills when you said that. And I was talking to my husband about this the other day, and I was like, am I like trauma bonded to these people? Like, because we're all going through, because sometimes it can feel that way. I know I'm not, but like you said, it's not a trauma bond. It's you're going through, business can be tough, guys. Like if you're listening to this, that's why I ask about how Maya got here, right? She's incredibly successful now, but it doesn't all always start this way. And it takes time to build a business. And I think in this instant gratification social media age that we live in, where people are, I went from zero to whatever, $10 million in, 5 minutes, and like whatever, all the hooks and the things, we get this glorified example of what it really looks like to be in business, when in all actuality, there's tough, like you said, vulnerable places that we have to go. We have to figure out how to undo a lot of the stuff that we learned when we were children, right? Because most of us were told, hey, you just go to work and, pick a job and you work there for 40 years and then you die. I don't know. It's just, there's so much deconditioning that has to take place. And I really feel like for me, that's been the thing that has shifted the most. It's like every time my business has leapt, right, and experienced any kind of quantum leap, it started with me first. It's not the opposite way. Like you're not going to grow once your business is making $1 million a year. Like that's not how this works. You have to grow and then your business will grow. And but you're
Totally.
right. It's like we're having these conversations and going deep, like so much of this work in business specifically. And I think maybe even more so for women, not even maybe, definitely more so for women even than men sometimes, is that because we don't have that natural confidence, like we've got to decondition all of that and be around people who will allow us to feel safe doing it. And so
Yeah.
it's so vital. I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, and I think I women give women confidence. That's one thing we do really empower ourselves with. So, like at the same time as I really landed Rallier Realty, I brought in my marketing and community director, and it's this sisterhood that we have built inside of our company that
Mhm.
has really propelled things forward. And that I can't speak about, I'll name drop her. It's Desiree Ruiz. If you could look her up, she's fun to follow on Instagram. So Desiree has been a game changer in my business as well. And that women-led piece of it, like, and sisterhood built into a business, I think that's where we're shifting, because I don't know of a real estate development company that's built that. And I'm sure there are. And I want, if anyone's listening and says, yeah, I know one, please, I'd love to meet them. And we grow that knowledge that more of us exist. And also, if anyone's listening is like, how do I get into owning commercial real estate, like malls and manufacturing places and maybe even office buildings or multi-residential buildings? Like these are all asset classes.
Mhm.
And maybe that's also knowledge too. Like I don't mind doing some knowledge drops on real estate because I don't think women talk about it ever, ever. So, but that's like something, if anyone is like interested in that, or you're driving right now and you're seeing something now all of a sudden differently along the highway, and you're like, who owns that? Who owns that field over there? Like, I wonder, because if I could develop something really cool there. And yeah, you should think about that.
Ah, it's so important. And yeah, we don't know what we don't know, right? And a lot of times we just assume, like I know for me, I've driven past a million different things and I'm like, I have not even really, I mean, of course it's like crossed my mind with sometimes, but it's like that seems like such a big task. Like who owns all of that? I don't know. Like I can't afford it right now, right? Not that I speak that way. I don't use the
No, so
coffee, right?
but that's how we
That is how we
think.
think.
That's
Yeah.
how we think, like, oh my God, only millionaires or billionaires could do this. And here's the big perspective shift. Like, I didn't think I had any money. I didn't think I had my own money, or I didn't see myself in this seat. And
Mm,
then working, and actually, funny enough, the only thing that really tremendously happened when I worked with Makosi, like physically, was I moved houses. Like by the end of our time working together, I moved, which definitely shifted a lot of energy. And I felt like a big wave of that was from our work. But my perspective is what shifted. And all of a sudden, I had access to millions and millions of dollars. It was a perspective shift.
wow.
I had it the whole time.
Wow.
Literally just was like, yeah, I guess I'm in the driver's seat of this. And I finally owned it. And the next day she's like, you did it. You had your quantum leap. And I'm like, but it was there the whole time.
Wow. Isn't
And
it
but that could be anyone's perspective shift. Because
interesting?
really, you don't know. Like, you can think, oh, it has to come from something right now that I can see, but no, you can't see it because your perspective is like a tunnel right now in this way. But you might have access, to to all of this financing that you don't know. There's so many ways people are financed.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that like,
Yeah, if that lands with someone, that's so
yeah,
cool because you're right. Like it seems like such a big task, but it's because we don't know about it and we're not taught about it. And
yeah,
I think that having these conversations, bringing this stuff to light is so important. And I love that you are starting to talk about this and you're getting onto podcasts and you're doing all the things because people need to know. Yeah, they absolutely need to know. And women need to know like how to take their power back in this society. And I find that I kind of had a download around this last night, actually, but it was like, one of my biggest missions is just to help bring the power and, the money, therefore, like in this society, back into the hands of those of us who are going to use it for good, right? And I saw this visual of what we're essentially doing is we're quite literally claiming our power that we have involuntarily given away to these systems and these structures. And I saw this vision of like women just like standing boldly and all of the literal, like it was like a golden light, this power just coming back. And we're just doing it through the hands of money, like because that's the system that we use in this society. But like all it really is like just this power was always yours. This was never theirs. We've been giving it away for generations and, been taught to do this. But in all actuality, all we're really doing here is bringing our power back. And if that means that you want to look into real estate because this is something that you drive by these buildings, like you said, you're looking at things differently, or you want to start a real estate Airbnb business or a short-term rental business or commercial, like whatever it is, and you have that desire on your heart and you're listening to this, I believe it's because there is a part of you that knows that that is possible for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't desire it. I don't think desires are random. I think desires are placed on our heart by our higher self or God or source or the universe, whatever your belief system is. So, if
totally.
it's on your heart, that means it's actually meant for you. And so we've got to get around people who can, like you said, wisdom, like share the knowledge, explain to people how they can make this kind of thing happen. And getting in those rooms and getting in those circles is really going to help with that. So I love what you're doing, Maya. I think it's incredible. I'm so excited about this human design hotel.
So yeah, this is prototype number one. Maybe we'll go around the world. We'll see. We'll see what the future brings. And yeah, me too. I'm excited you're coming to Montreal. So
So excited.
what are you doing in Montreal to like, are you celebrating? Are you there for an event?
We're just going to see where Sabrina lives. Yeah, so we're really
Amazing.
excited. We've been kind of doing these little, I think I manifested these girls, and I don't think I did. I definitely did. I'm almost childless at this point, right? Sabrina and her boyfriend are like childless by choice, and so is Rachel and her husband. And I have a child, but she's 19, right? So I'm like kind of in that weird phase where I'm sort of childless. Like I have three adults that live here. And so I used to think, man, I would really love to just have a friend that would like do spiritual retreats with me. Like we have the money, we have the time. Let's just go. Let's do different things together. I want to go to Sedona. I want to go here. I want to go there. And I happened to then manifest two of them, which was incredible. So now they're
That's
both
awesome.
like they've got, they have the ability to travel. We all own our own businesses. We do our own things. So yeah, it's really, really exciting. And so we're going to be coming just to see Montreal. So we'll definitely have to connect there. Okay, so Maya, as we are landing this plane today with our podcast episode, I want to share if there's any thoughts, any final thoughts that you have for our listeners, anything that I didn't ask about that you think is important to share or just to kind of let everyone know as we land the plane.
Yeah, like I have so much to share on real estate. So we skimmed the surface of what I'm working on. I'm working on a whole model. There, I don't know if you've heard of LEED buildings. I have my own model called Healthy Building that I'm working on.
Oh, yes.
So that's coming, and it's just a way of operating. You could do it with your own home. If you want, I could do the really quick version, which is
Yeah,
it's
please.
four elements, and one is waste consciousness, so how you treat waste in your house,
Mm,
and energy consciousness, how you treat energy. So these are simple things like how you use the AC or how you use the heating, like these things. And the third one is returns. So how is your asset, how is it growing for you? Is it appreciating? Is it every year, are you in the red if it's a business? If you're treating it like a business, you're trying to actually produce cash flow inside. Maybe not your home, but you're getting a lot of use out of your home, so that's producing for you. And then the last one, which is going to be the one that I think will be the most interesting, is the relationships aspect.
Mm,
And so in your home, it could be, how does your home facilitate relationships?
yeah.
And outside in the business world, how does that commercial real estate facilitate relationships, relationships from property owner to the tenant, relationships tenant to tenant? So
Yeah.
I'm creating a model that helps to measure that, because with evidence on how a building does better year on year, then we have something that's more akin to a healthy building, healthy for the
Yeah.
community, healthy, the building itself is able to stabilize, and we're able to fix the roof and stuff like that. But yeah, that's my
So
little
cool. It's like this whole new way of looking at. It's so funny because I always know that something channeled is going to come through, like when I'm in these really aligned conversations. But this morning I was just in my gratitude practice and I just happened to, which I've never really done at this level before. I just happened to like thank my house. Like I just saw like this. I'm very grateful for where I live. I always have been, but for some reason it showed up differently where I saw it as like an energy and I was just like, holy shit. I am so thankful that like you're here and you've provided for me and like I'm sorry that I'm, not all like I literally had a full-on conversation with with the energy of my house. And then we would have this conversation around how just it's quite literally changing the experiences for people from the inside out, it feels like. It's like a different way of experiencing your life and seeing how even if everything is energy, even the buildings that you're walking in are energy, right? Everything is energy, and we can curate this space. Like I just can see this massive ripple effect of the work that you're doing and how that will spread and other people will start to consider the similar things and just think about like the ripple effect that will occur. I'm sure you have thought of that, but I think it's beautiful. It's amazing what you're doing.
Well, I think there's lots of people starting to delve into that. So like look around and like find your,
Yeah.
your different designers and builders, but it's like coming for us because we've kind of neglected it, right? We've said, oh, we can just build quickly and cheaply. And so this is kind of where
Yes.
we're putting, like you said, when you put money in the hands of people who are conscious, it's shifting how we do things.
Yeah.
So this actually makes us healthier and
Yeah.
happier and all that. So I want to be doing that. I do want to build in Costa Rica next and in Quebec, keep building in Quebec because it's such a great backyard for me. And the concepts all developed in Quebec are around like different types of way of doing retail centers and bringing in also our aging population, giving them places to also live that are humane and not just shoving them all in a building together. And so we're kind of thinking about the future because that's coming for us, and
Yeah.
we if we're conscious about it and if we're developing for it, not only will it be winning financially for the people who are developing for it, but also winning again for our communities. So
Yeah.
I don't know that there are a lot of people thinking that way. So I'm just hoping to for that to snowball. And so look out for that with Rally Realty, and we're going to look for aligned investors
Yeah.
who want to bring the money here and either be involved in some level with us or just be passive investors, which is also amazing because then your money is just doing more and more good.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. So, okay, can you share if any of our listeners are feeling called to reach out to you about this work or they know someone who might be in this space and would be a great connection for you, or they just want to learn more about the work that you're doing, where can they find you?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely on the two main socials. On LinkedIn as Mya Pearle Nerenberg, and on Instagram as simply Mya Pearle. They're both my first names. That's a whole story for another day. So yes, you can find me on both those, and I'd be happy to connect with you and to keep chatting, especially if you're a woman wanting to get into real estate. I want to uplift you, or already in it, and we want to collab. That's great. And also just like anyone who wants to get in on this human design hotel action, we're open doing an open call soon for artists. So elevated artistry who get and understand this concept. That'll be fun too.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm so excited. This is incredible. Okay, any final thoughts before we close out today's conversation?
Just that what you're doing is amazing. And I really
Aw.
like it gives me so much joy to listen to your podcast. I'll get on my treadmill and just listen or driving in the car. And I feel like I can get a window into your life that you provide. So I just want to give you so much energy to keep doing what you're doing because you don't know, again, that ripple effect, right, is huge. And so sometimes I know it's a lot of work to put on a podcast. I did it years ago and it's having an impact on my life. And so I just want you to know that you're highly impactful and appreciated.
Thank you. I received that. You're making me emotional. I appreciate you. And this has been so incredible. And I'm so glad that we got to do this because it's been a long time coming of you coming on here. But I'm really excited that we had the opportunity to do this. And yeah, I can't wait to just continue to watch your journey and what you do in the world. So we will maybe in the future there will be a part two when we see once this all kind of comes to fruition, we can come
Oh
back and
my
talk.
God, we're gonna live broadcast your stay in Montreal. I have a vision forming for you. Watch out. What's your friend's name again who's in Montreal?
Sabrina.
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 Watch out. Sabrina. You and I are getting together soon.
I know. I know. I literally can't wait. So we'll get her on board. They're gonna have no problem with it. You're right. You're definitely in line
I
with
gotta steal Rebecca for a few minutes.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you again so much. Hang out here with me, Maya, because then we'll close out after. But thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate you all so much, and we'll catch you in the next episode, guys. Bye. Soul Sister, thank you so much for tuning in to this entire episode today. If you enjoyed this episode, would you do me a favor and leave a quick review? This allows me to reach more people, and if you found value, I know others in your life will too. Also, be sure to share this episode on social media along with your biggest takeaways so I know what resonates most with you and I can keep the good stuff coming. And if you're looking to dive into a deeper connection than this podcast will allow, consider checking out my Rise to Riches experience in the show notes below. I would love to hear how these messages have helped you take one step closer to living your soul-powered life and becoming the wildly wealthy woman. Sis, let's continue to rise together. I'll see you next time. Bye.